questions. The important thing here is to look at these questions and try and work out, exactly what we need to put in the answer. This question asks for identifying the joint action, the main agonist, and the type of contraction at the shoulder and elbow as the arm moves from position A to position B. Common sense tells me it's the right arm because I can't see the left arm. And we're always remembering we're going from position A to position B, and we're only concerned with the shoulder joint and the elbow joint. So forget the legs, forget the knee, forget the hip, forget the head. It's just the shoulder joint, just the elbow joint. So when we're answering this sort of question, we need to consider the sort of things that take place in the shoulder joint first of all. So here's our first test of the day. This is 30 seconds, please, guys. Can you name the type of joint, the bones found in that joint at the shoulder, and then looking at actions A to B. The top line says racket actions A to B. So A to B, what's happening at the shoulder? What's the name of that action? And what's the main agonist that causes the action? I'll give you 30 seconds to write those answers down now. And if you're in a group of students, chat. Really annoy your teacher. There's nothing wrong with talking during revision. Okay. 30 seconds are up. Shoulder joint, the type of joint you should have put down, it's a ball and socket joint. If you got that wrong or you haven't given it an answer, write it down now in the space on the PowerPoint. Bones in the joint, bit of a trick question. There are only two bones in the shoulder joint. There's the bone of the upper arm, the humerus, and it links to the shoulder bone, the scapula. So we're looking for humerus and scapula. The collarbone, the clavicle, is not part of the shoulder joint. Looking at the action, look at the diagram A, look at the diagram B. The angle of the shoulder joint from position A to position B is getting smaller. That means it's called flexion, but this is a special type of flexion. This is flexion where the upper arm is roughly parallel to the ground, and therefore this type of flexion is more properly called horizontal flexion. In terms of the agonist, don't forget muscles can only pull, they can never push. So the muscle that's dragging that right arm from position A to position B, well, there's two main muscles working. There's firstly the pectorals, secondly the deltoids. So there's our first set of answers to that sort of questions. One centrist said our teachers told us abduction. You can use the term adduction. Horizontal adduction is what it's called in America, but they're weird over there. Sorry, all Americans. I use the word horizontal flexion. If you put horizontal adduction in the exam, it would be marked correct, but not just adduction, it's horizontal. We're looking now at racket actions C to D. Okay, C to D, right hand side diagrams. Looking at the elbow joint. So again, what type of joint do you find at the elbow? What are the main bones that form the elbow joint? And in the movement you can see from C to D, what's that action called and what's the main agonist that causes that action? 30 seconds. Time's up. I think this bit's easier. This is not as hard as it first looks. Just look at what's going on. The elbow joint is a hinge joint. Everyone knows that one. It's GCSE stuff. The bones in the hinge joint, they're all there. All the bones in the upper and lower arm are there. So you've got the humerus and the ulna and the radius. And you'd need all three to get a mark in the exam. The action, well, it's dead simple. That elbow is getting, the angle at the elbow is getting smaller. It is, of course, flexion, and the only muscle that causes flexion at the elbow is the biceps. So here's our marks for that sort of question. And this has been a past paper set question, has been set before. Okay, let's move on now, looking a bit at more arm actions, but this time looking at press-ups as a typical question.